some people on Wall Street have expressed concerns that the possibility of a recession is increasing. And I want to know what you think about that. Are you comfortable with the country potentially dipping into a recession for a period of time if you are able to achieve your long-term goals?
There are many people on Wall Street say this is going to be the greatest windfall ever happened.
And that's my question.
Remember
the
this.
long term.
Yeah.
Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
We're already seeing some of those fantastic gains thanks to President Trump's tariffs. The U.S. brought in more than $17 billion in tariff revenue last month, dwarfing any haul from his first term. That's on top of the nearly $10 billion from March. Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia Acuna, along with Guy Benson, Lauren Simonetti, and Joe Concha, and welcome to a brand new hour of the Big Weekend Show. The economy got a much-needed bump this week with a positive April jobs report. The U.S. added 177,000 jobs last month, beating expectations. And while manufacturing jobs were mostly unchanged in April, it still did better than expected. The industry is making a comeback under Trump after neglect by former President Joe Biden. British car maker Jaguar Land Rover has also announced that they will restart car exports to the United States after a pause over tariffs. Here at home, business leaders are thrilled with America's new golden age.
Look, we think this is really great for the country. We really support the president's initiative. We are building more. We have a new plant in Ohio, a new plant in Tennessee. The cranes are up. We're expanding at Ford. We're more than 85% now of our vehicles built here. We're the #1 exporter in the United States of automobiles, but we are building 2 brand new plants.
But far-left Democrats don't want to admit that President Trump is setting America up for success.
By historians is the biggest economic blunder in 100 years. That's how bad they are. You know, our farmers who import fertilizer from Canada, they're getting hammered. Our manufacturers that have to get steel and aluminum, they're getting hammered. The president is making a very grave mistake here, and he's playing Russian roulette with our economy.
So, Lauren, I'm going to go to you first, obviously. Sure. So we heard President Trump talk about, there has to be a steadiness to this. Mm-hmm. It's going to take some time, and that's where we will see the gains.
So he's trying to do a lot. He's trying to re-engineer the entire global economy. We have a 145% tariff on China, but we are also the consumer of the world, and he knows that. So he is betting that because we're so big and powerful that he can rejigger all these trade arrangements. And the way you do that is you get people to make it fair. The rules of the road become fair. You bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Back in the late 70s, we had almost 40% more people working in manufacturing. So he's trying to change all of these things, and he knows it's very hard to do. But he's consistently meeting with America's CEOs, whether it's the auto companies, whether it's the Walmart and the retail giants. He's checking in with them, asking for patience. This jobs report for April, which did include the Liberation Day, the April 2nd tariff announcement, it did include that. And this report wasn't so bad. May and June might be a little bit different. If you look at the options market, most traders will tell you might see a Federal Reserve rate cut in the month of July. So hopefully this will all come together and he can do what he's trying to do. It does not happen overnight. And that's why when we started this hour, the NBC interview, he said, maybe there'll be a recession because he understands this is not easy and it can't happen that fast.
Yeah, I think the American people actually need to hear that from him. I think that puts some of this, instability feeling that some people have out there at ease. Maybe it helps. And also, Guy, before I go to you, I want to go to this Wall Street Journal article. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that this jobs report provides, quote, the first hard data since Trump's April 2nd tariff announcements. A weak jobs number could vindicate Trump's critic. A strong number would shut them up, at least for now. Coming from the Wall Street Journal, which has actually been pretty critical of the president of late.
Well, yeah, and we got a strong jobs report. Big beat on expectations, and it wasn't just the top line number. If you dig in a little bit deeper, what was really encouraging and heartening, I think, about the jobs report on Friday is these these jobs and the growth in jobs was fueled by the private sector, not by the government sector, which is a refreshing and needed change. Also, wages up significantly year over year. That's good news. I think it is risky for the White House to get into too much triumphalism about the tariffs. People are still very concerned about that. We've seen even talk from the president himself about potential recession. That is a tough pill to swallow for the American people because it's not just some concept. It has real consequences if we have a recession. We had contraction in Q1 of GDP. So some mixed results so far, but certainly a good jobs report on Friday. The White House touting it understandably because it was very good news.
Yeah, and Conch, we are hearing from people out there who have businesses. They're trying to run their lives.
Sure.
We have a shrimper and a cattle rancher talking about the tariffs. Take a listen.
We've been getting killed by imports for not just years, but literally decades. So we've been suffering for a long, long time. And these tariffs, we believe, are going to give us some immediate relief.
I don't think any of us know what's going to happen with these tariffs. But what we do know for a fact is that the American beef industry has been on the short end for a long time.
So actually, picking up on what Guy was saying, we're still waiting and wondering, but you have these folks out there who are doing their best to be positive, and they're hopeful.
Sure. They're optimistic. And the first 100 days, obviously, Trump moved at breakneck speed. The most important part, I think, is the next 100 days in terms of this presidency, which is only 3 months old, which is remarkable. It feels 3 years old, right, with everything that's been happening. There's still 45 months left in it. You look at big picture. The Dow Jones is back to where it was from Election Day. The NASDAQ was actually up in April. Remember, the beginning of April is when we saw all that volatility. So that seems to have leveled off. I'll just give you 3 numbers, and then we have to go. Unemployment's currently around 4%. That's historically low. Inflation, which not a lot of people are talking about, is only at 2.4% and fell in the month of March as well. And then the third number that we talked about last hour bears repeating. Border crossings are down 99%. So if you're looking at overall big numbers, if Donald Trump is able to get 0-for-0 tariffs with places like the EU and India, and he is able to pass that big, beautiful bill with extending the Trump tax cuts, the next 100 days, if that happens, you're going to see rocket fuel to the economy. And Democrats, I've yet to hear an alternative. They're good at complaining. I don't hear anything about solutions.